Guys, okay, so I had a migraine all day yesterday, so I'm sorry that I had to postpone the wand study until tonight, but I am going to do a live video tonight. I believe it's going to be around 8 o'clock Eastern time. But I want to catch up with the 31 Days of Tarot because I've been really behind. It was a crazy week at work. So I am on day 15. Which is, do you have a deck for personal use, and why or why not? Okay, so, not really. I do not have a deck that I will not bring out in front of anyone, that I just use for me. But I will tell you that this deck, the Messenger cards by Sandra Coons, is a very personal deck to me. I use it to journal. And it's really, for me, it's for personal growth. Look how gorgeous that is. So, I would say out of any one of my decks, this is probably the deck that I really look to for personal use, for personal growth, but I will bring it out for other people too. It's not like a... It's funny though, you know, when I feel like a deck is very personal to me, I get, look at, there's a buffalo, woohoo! I get upset if people do not connect with the cards as much as I do. Not upset, that's the right word, but I get like, but isn't it great? Why don't you think this is great? I think this is great. So sometimes I do, on the decks that really connect with me, I kind of sit with them for a while for just me before I introduce them to anybody else, until I can get over that a little bit. Do you read reversals? Why or why not? I do not at this point. 99% of the time. Unless a card, I feel like it was reversed for a very particular reason. And I know that reversal means something. But I don't feel like I know the cards well enough yet to go into reversals. I feel like I'm still learning the deck enough that I don't want to, you know, start confusing myself with reversals. And I didn't turn my other lights on, but the color looks good because it's still daytime here, so it must be okay. Draw, paint, or sketch your favorite tarot card. Talk a little bit about the card, this card, while you're drawing. So I do not draw either. I'm going to take a page out of Jennifer's Spiritual Garage and say I do not draw. I'm horrible. It would be stick figures. But I will tell you that the card that I go to, I know a lot of people look at the Death card first, by the way, Dark Crystal. I'm so excited. It's coming back out in the movies March, I want to say 7th, but I'm not sure. And the new reverberation of it, there's going to be a series on Netflix. So, yay. I'm such a nerd, I know. My favorite card, though, is the Justice card. And I think that's partly because I am a Libra all the way. I'm one of those people that is very emotional about bullies and about anyone who I feel like they're facing injustices. So I immediately look to the Justice card. So, and I love a really good Justice card that talks about, you know, that invokes that feeling of blind justice. One of my first goddesses was Maat from the Egyptian realm, and that's because she was the goddess of justice, and she was the goddess of justice in the world, like, you know, right now kind of justice, and in the afterlife. When they went to the underworld, she weighed your life, your sins, your whatever you want to call it, against feather. And so it had to even out. And she decided who went into the underworld and who didn't. So that's my favorite card. I'm not going to try to draw it. It's just not. Can't do it. Share one. We're on day 18. Share one of the new things you learned about tarot in the last year. I have learned a whole lot because I've only been learning tarot in the last couple of years. I have really learned a whole lot. It's hard to narrow that down to one specific thing. But I would say that I have learned that the more I use the tarot, the better I feel about the cards in general, about using it for everyday life. But I have, I guess, moved away from the divination part of tarot. For me, it's less about looking into the future and more about looking to the tarot to tell me how to deal with this daily fucked up life. So that's what I think the biggest thing that I've learned. Share which tarot deck out there gives you the heebie-jeebies. I have not really found a deck that gives me the heebie-jeebies. I found decks that I'm like, I don't really, some of the, like, I know there's a couple quote-unquote satanic decks out there that I'm like, there's one, I'm trying to remember what it's called, but there's one so-called satanic deck out there that I guess this is probably the closest to the heebie-jeebies. I just am like, yeah, that's just weird. That is so-called satanic, and really, to me, it's a whole bunch of women with penises. And I'm like, whatever, if that appeals to you, and for some reason you think that's satanic, okay, whatever. I don't really have a deck, though, that I'm like, ew, that just creeps me out. I don't like that. I have a couple cards, like there's a couple cards in decks that I'm like, what's the one with the sun card? Where the kid's face, you're like, okay, that looks kind of evil. And there's a couple in the Panda deck, which I recommend for younger people. There's a couple cards in the Panda deck that I'm like, that face looks very odd. But it's not really heebie-jeebies to me. I don't know. Maybe because it takes a lot for me to get the heebie-jeebies. Share one, day 20. Share one tarot myth you used to believe and why you stopped believing it. I guess, I don't know if I believed, I don't buy into bullshit very much. So I know, like, there's all kinds of the tarot myths of, like, you have to wrap your cards in silk or the energy will go away, or to protect the energy and stuff. Okay, if that's what you feel helps to protect that, that's great. I think it, to protect cards, that's fine. Like, you can't let other people use your cards because their energy might screw up your cards and stuff. I think if you're worried about that stuff, maybe it infiltrates your energy, infiltrates that into that. Same thing with my crystals. People are like, oh, is it okay if I touch crystals? Yeah, sure. If you have an energy that I don't like, I can just clear that energy out. I don't think it stays with the tarot necessarily. So whatever works for you. I don't know. I don't buy into all that. I just don't. I don't know. Okay, day 21. Share some of your favorite deck storage. Okay, my deck storage is like a big bookshelf and then boxes, and so, oh, that was pretending I had some stomach muscles that I don't. Okay, so I do have like a box of the bagged tarots that I have, and I like a lot of the bags that I have for tarot that don't have good boxes that I keep in the boxes necessarily. I like tarot bags in general, so I don't know. I like a lot of the bags that I carry. I was thinking last night about a way to just carry the bags separately and just put decks and separate the decks with 3x5 cards with the names on it in this box and kind of prop it up and have, I don't know how to, I'll show you if I ever do it, but just have the decks and have them separated by index cards and with the names on them, and then I could have all my bags free and pick a bag that I think went with that deck today. I was thinking of that this morning at 5 a.m. when I was waking up, I think. But otherwise I keep tarot all over the place. I keep some at work. I keep some in my bags. So, ultimately, I would love to have a big wall shelf or something. I like Simon's from Two Spirit, where it's a thin shelf and, you know, rows of thin shelves so you can kind of see them all. That would be nice. But I still think that would take up a whole lot of wall. But maybe if you stacked them, you know, like tarot sized, you could have a whole bunch of different shelves. I don't know. We'll see. I'm really particular today, right? Day 22. How many am I going? So we're on, today's the 20th or the 21st. Share the card that was the hardest for you to get when you were first learning tarot, and how do you feel about the card now? All right, I'm still first learning tarot. So you all know that my hardest suit is the wands. Wands are just, I don't know if it's because I'm an air sign and I'm very much air. That because wands is fire, that, you know, I just don't relate to the wands as much. I'm really enjoying studying them. I'm liking getting through the studies. I guess I will say that the court cards are hard for me because I feel like I always have to bring it back to a person. Like, okay, there's a person in your life, and I don't always want to do that. I feel sometimes I'm like, this is not right. So I'll start talking about the energies. There's a masculine energy in your life, or it could be you, but it's a little confusing to me sometimes, the court cards. So I'll see when I get to the court cards of the wands. Then we'll see what, you know, what the studies talk about. Day 23, share a tarot deck that you just had to break up with. It no longer resonates for you. Maybe I'll stop there because I really have no idea. I really have to think about that question. So we'll stop with day 22. And I have some other videos to do today, and tonight will be the wand study. So yay! Happy weekend. I hope everyone is having a great weekend, and I'll be watching some football later because it's Championship Sunday. So yippee, and have a good week. I'll see you though. I'll be on. Blessings.